Hello and welcome to Budget Model Railways Train Shed Tuesday. I might not be my usual enthusiastic self tonight. This is my fourth attempt to make this video. I really am going to have to teach myself some editing software. Three attempts, two attempts didn't work because I tried pausing it and it didn't work. And then I was doing really well with the last one. I got 9 minutes in, moved the camera on the mount and turned the phone off. So I'm back to my salesman days now. When I used to teach selling, I used to say to people that the two tricks for selling was remembering it was entertainment and storytelling. You have to tell a story to get people interested, and you have to be able to act and entertain. It's acting as well, because you've got to say the same thing 5 times a day, and it's got to sound fresh and entertaining and interesting every time you say it. So I feel a bit like that about this video now, because this will be the 4th time that I've said this. But hey, here we go. So I made a bit of progress with this layout. I am down in the shed tonight, and I'm quite fortunate having a shed. So it's interesting that there's a number of different places you can put a model railway: shed, garage, loft, house, room indoors. And of course garden, but let's ignore that for the moment in the context of what I'm talking about. A room in the house, a bedroom, is definitely the best. No two ways about it environmentally. Lofts really don't work. We were in the loft for a number of years. Absolute furnace in the summer, even with a window that we could open. Freezing cold in the winter. Unless, of course, you open the loft hatch when all the hot air in the house goes into the loft. Thank you very much. And my good lady wife then complains she's freezing to death watching the telly. So lofts are not very successful. As Doug's discovering in Cheltenham in his garage workshop, garages aren't very good either, especially this time of year. It's too cold down there for him at the moment. The shed, I was quite lucky. So when we took the old conservatory down, I knew that I would have this laminate floor to do the ceiling. What I didn't know is that under the laminate floor was this 15mm chipboard, and under that was 40mm polystyrene. So I was able, without any cost, to put, I already had the foil that you can see there, and I was able then to, if you like, double insulate: foil, polystyrene, and then cladding, either in chipboard or laminate. And the really important thing I found in the shed is a floor. A really solid floor helps with the insulation and the roof. And with the help of a little electric heater down there on a frost setting, it really does keep it comfortable in here. I could have gone in the small box room, but the small box room is considerably shorter than smaller than this shed. So I decided it was worth trying to work down here, and so far it's been really good. Now I know my messy, what I call open storage, i.e. it's not all in boxes where I don't know where it is. So it's interesting when I was doing reading on things like adult ADHD. It's a very complex subject, actually. Everybody's different. But one of the things I do tick is that I prefer to work in a mess with things out where I can see where they are. Because I don't always remember where I put them otherwise. So although it'll offend a lot of people, I find working like this really works really well. It is quite funny when you think that I'm building that tiny layout and using an area 10 times the size to store and work on it. But there you go. It works for me. Now I'm going to move over here carefully and try not to turn the phone off this time. Of course you won't know if I do, because I just won't make another video. So this layout's coming along quite nicely. Quite a lot of progress since you last saw it. This loco is still one of the best ones I've got. It's very interesting this week on Instagram. A number of people complaining about very expensive 00 locos they've got that aren't running properly. Especially slow and over points. And they've discovered that a lot of the manufacturers, frankly, don't give a toss. For locomotives, I mean, this is a 25 quid chassis. It's a £35, £40 loco complete. It's got all-wheel drive, all-wheel pickup and flywheels. And I still can't get over the fact that a £200 loco in 00 can't run properly. Doesn't have flywheels, doesn't have all-wheel pickup. And I'm just amazed that people put up with it. There's no way that some of the 00 locos should run as badly as they do. There seems to be an element of Friday night car about it. You know, what was built quickly in a rush at the end of the day. There's no consistency of quality control. So some will run fine and some won't. if people like Kato can do it at their baseline loco at a cheap price, there really is no excuse for £200 locos not being able to run smoothly. But it's what you get when you get a hobby where too many people collect them and rave about how wonderful they look, and then belatedly say, of course it doesn't run well, but I'll live with it. I suppose we reap what we sow. So one thing I really like with this layout is the way it disappears behind the back scene there. Because that back scene can curve round sharply because of the curve, when the trains run round there, and unfortunately I haven't got the power on, but I'm not going to stop and put the power. Let's risk putting the power on and hope I don't cut myself off. Bear with me a second, because I'm not going to try and edit this, because that won't end well. This might not run anyway, because no, it's not going to. The track is very dirty. Right, let's see what happens. So as I take it round the back there, if I stop it, there we go. You can see it literally disappears through the trees. And by the time I have another tree there, that'll be one of the best little concealed entrances that I've done. And it's all because of the idea of carrying the back scene around the curve, rather than it going off straight as it normally would. I was just serendipitous, didn't think about it, it's just the way it ended up. So I'm really pleased with that. I've been building the hills using this stuff, which is like a foam packaging. Doug's printers and things come in it. It's much easier to work with and less messy than polystyrene. And it makes really nice hills. I usually try to make them off scene like this and then stick them on. But on the back here, I needed to be able to build it in place. Now, because I've done so many versions of this, I don't think I mentioned this. So over the back there, you'll have seen all the scenery stuff. And it comes from AliExpress in China. Now, if I have said this before, you'll have to put up with it again, because I've done this video so many times, I can't remember I've said it. So Doug got me all this on AliExpress. It's about a quarter of the price of the stuff from the UK. And so that's a really good way of buying it. It's one of those things, again, in the UK, it's just too expensive. And you have to watch when you're buying in the UK. I bought a small bag of scatter on eBay, and when it turned up, it wasn't this, but it was that sort of size. Tiny, tiny little bag. No weights or anything on the packaging. And of course, everybody sells their ballast and their scatter in different ways. Some do it by size, some do it by weight, some do it by millilitres or grams. It becomes quite difficult to tell. So we bought that actually by chance from China, but it's turned out to be really good. Talking about prices, it's an interesting thing as well with some of these locos. Again, if I've already said this, you'll have to excuse me, but very annoyed recently to see these locos on most of the major websites saying in stock, which I got very excited about. They're not in stock. They're available for pre-order. Well, you wouldn't have got away with that in the old days in bricks and mortar retail, putting a poster out saying you got something, and when people walk in saying, I haven't, but I will have at some point if you want to pay for it now. It's just wrong in my view, especially major retailers advertising things on their website as available now and in stock, and when you actually click on the item, it's not. It's available for pre-order. I'm sorry, guys, that's not available, and you shouldn't be saying so. And you do have to be careful of the prices of these. They vary by about 10 or 15 quid. On an item that costs £35, some people are trying to get a 30% price markup. And interestingly, on eBay, people are trying to get more for the trams than they are new. So it's worth shopping around. So anyway, the layout's coming along quite well. The cheap trees that I get from China are a bit naff, but all I do is I cover them with cheap scatter from China, and then they look quite good. So you get trees, again, much cheaper than the very expensive prices in the UK. Sorry if I've repeated myself a bit in there. It's got a bit confusing doing these videos. I was pleased with the way this came out. I used some of the coarse scatter glued on here, which I like. Even with the fire, I had to take this indoors to dry. It was taking too long for the glue to dry, which is something I'm going to have to watch as we move on. Certainly when I do the big layout, it'll be nearer the summer, because I can't pick up that layout. It's an 8-person lift. It does come out, but it's an 8-person lift. So there we go. Not a lot to talk about. I've had cake today. I've had strudel. I did like some of the cake comments from last week. Somebody quite rightly said, why was I talking about trains when I should be eating lemon drizzle cake? Which I agreed with fully. But I am excited about this layout. It ticks lots of boxes for me. I've wanted to build a passing station rather than a shunting. I've done lots of sort of shunting layouts. And this is on the same area as the shunting layouts, but it's got a loop. And I can run trains both ways. It's going to be a little passing station. It's going to have a light unit in here. It's going to have that in there, which is it's not really a fluorescent, it's an LED tube. They came from the old kitchen when we took the kitchen out. And by chance, it fits exactly. And this is something me and Matthew have been saying that we've seen at exhibitions, these kind of light box layouts. It's going to have a lid on it and it'll be well lit. It's got a 2-road fiddle yard in the back, which gives you a lot of operating potential. It's not a micro sort of novelty layout. The intention is still going to put, a front on this as well. And then this is going to go across the pillion of my motorbike as transportable on the motorbike layout. And I think actually over the back here, where I've got a gap, I'm going to look at putting some storage in there. So it might be that I can even store the rolling stock on there. I'm going to have a handle on the top. Let's see what happens. It's a really different layout. We were in an art gallery, very good art gallery actually, in Newhaven the other day. We did miss the one we wanted to see, the exhibition all about the ferries. There's a very good coffee shop there as well. It was fairly modern art and multimedia and all that. But what got me was one of the artists said, when they start a piece of work, they don't know what it's going to look like. They don't know where it's going to take them. And that's what I liked about this layout. I built the track plan a long while ago because it's the only track plan that would fit that base. I've then decided I want to build this layout. So I built the box. I had no idea what I was going to do with the scenery. I have gone back to my usual, because why overthink it? My standard technique is a road running down over the bridge as the backbone of the layout and some scenery. It works for me. No reason to get clever or play with it. But I had no idea that I was going to use those buildings, or that the tunnel mouth was going to be there, or it's just evolved as I've gone along. And I really like that as a way of building. In some ways, that's why I'm struggling with the big layout behind me, is because that is going to need to be planned. Albeit I've decided, some of you will remember a video, this is the American layout. Simple loop with some sidings. And I decided that is very much really the best track plan. I started doing it years and years ago in 00. And I always enjoy it. It always works for me. I can watch trains run around. I can shunt. I don't really need a passing loop. And I'm beginning to think I just need to do a bigger version of this behind me in 10 foot by 2.5 foot. I know I want a little terminus station. I know I want a little bit of shunting. What's slowing me up is it really needs to be double line, and I don't get fired up by double lines. They take up so much room. They make some of the scenery and that kind of thing tricky. So I've got to play with that. It is going to be Kato track, but it's probably going to be at the most 1 oval, probably 2 ovals, and some sidings. And I need to keep it a bit simpler. The American layout I'm still really interested in. And that will get worked on at some point. And then under there, I've got another couple of shunting layouts. Still got my Japanese layout. It's still for sale. If anybody wants it, message me. I know I was going to do something exhibition-wise on it, but I don't think I am now. So there we go. That's taken me 40 minutes to do a 15-minute video. So I need to learn some editing. But there we go. I hope you've enjoyed it. And Hope you're all well and enjoying your model railways, and I'll speak to you again hopefully next week.